There's not going to be a conflict of electronic media when I switch this one on, is there?
I don't think so. Shall I do it at the same time?
Press the
red,
two, yeah.
the two together.
Both together. Okay,
okay, so we're now being, this is taped as well as videoed.
It's multimedic.
Exactly, exactly. Now I was going to say, I think of you as somebody who's been all about poetry happenings of different kinds. Do you think that's true? I mean, has that been the idea of making poetry live, making events, bringing together communities of people around poetry? That's pretty central to what you're about.
Self-knowledge is always a tricky thing, because who knows whether self-knowledge one articulates is not suspect and guided by ulterior motives, subconscious drives. But my hope with all the arts and my work with the arts since childhood has been to achieve engagement of consciousness at all levels, maximum levels. So insofar as from when I started New Departures, initially to be a quarterly magazine in my last year at Oxford with a few friends, some of them Oxon, some of them students elsewhere, some of them senior figures we admired, some of them younger people not from universities. So those included William Burroughs, Samuel Beckett, Stevie Smith, Kathleen Raine, Eugene Ionesco, John Cage, the beat writers from the oldies, and then John McGrath was the drama editor, Cornelius Cardew the music editor. We quickly fell in with all sorts of musicians, especially jazz and folk musicians, and singers and singer-songwriters. So after the first issue of New Departures appeared, we immediately, my friends and I, who were co-editing it, McGrath, Cardew, Anna Lovell, my then sweetheart, David Sladen, another Oxford lad, we realised just a magazine on paper being sent out to who knows whom, probably not very many, and out of darkness as far as feedback was concerned, was not going to be enough for us, having many of us been reading English at Oxbridge, where the course in those zero weather years, the course tended to end for Englit in 1850, and whilst we liked then being grant-aided to read all the poetry and write essays every week about the history of English literature, we also, many of us, were beginning to think we wanted to be writers and started our own writings, which of course began in the present, which was then 1959, 1960, and so it was our contemporaries and these slightly older figures we had read avidly and liked who most concerned us, so we contacted them and started live New Departures as well, which took the things we'd published on the road, so we produced the plays and read the poems aloud, often with music, started writing and singing our own songs, etc., etc. So there was a natural consequence of people then, in the first flush of youth and formative years, having got out of family and schooling, out of the narrow, usually, confines of our early childhood environments and teens, then the new sudden freedom of being away from any sort of supervision to speak of. Oxford and Cambridge and the other universities were then pretty relaxed, and although you were supposed to work hard and get a decent degree in the early terms and years, things were not often very heavy unless you were some sort of exceptional adolescent alky or sex maniac, etc., etc. You were free to get on with things with your contemporaries, and that was the great joy of Oxford for my friends and me, that we were rolling our own contemporary culture as well as being within the kind of playground of the older British and world literary and arts culture that we had liked living in for years before.